Hello friends, welcome to Defrost Seattle. I am Margaret Spencer.
And I'm Rafael Rodriguez.
And we are here with Brenda Reiss. And we are here talking about how we can warm up relationships. And the topic today is how not to be a doormat. Do you know those people that you feel are doormats and you just can kind of feel like you could just do anything and they'll never complain? This is the kind of person you don't want to be. Now, and if you watched our last episode, Brenda was talking a little bit about her experience in this area.
Yes, I was. I lived my life mostly that way. I learned as a survival technique, I learned to be codependent. Yeah. I learned that the more I was the good girl, the more that I could please and not cause waves, then the better my life was, right? So I learned how to work that. And so I carried that into my relationships. And so my last divorce, my former marriage was a really big one for that. And his dreams were mine, his thoughts were mine. I lived my life around that. And of course, he catered to that. Right. And he resented it too. So because I wasn't like that in the beginning, or so it seemed like we are, and when we're dating. Right. But then what it was then I wanted to please him so much, and then he would pull away, and so I wanted more attention, so I became a doormat.
And then you lost a little bit of your identity.
I lost a lot of my identity.
Right.
I didn't know who I was.
I so relate to that. As a young mom,
yes,
you're doing for the children. It's what do you want to eat for dinner, children? Yes. What do you want? And what and what do you need, husband? And you're thinking about everybody else's needs, and you completely forget about yourself. You lose yourself in your family, and I think this is very common with women.
I think so too.
Being the caregivers.
I think so too. And have you had experience with that?
To some extent, yes, but not from being the doormat, but with being with someone with that characteristic. So, and it's so boring. Oh my God.
It's boring because they're just too pleasing. They're too willing.
No, and it's like if everything happens the way that I want them to happen,
what's exciting, right?
Where's the excitement? Exactly.
So you mean you like her to push back a little bit?
But just enough.
Just a little.
Just enough so that everything that you want is an automatic no, and then it's like, okay, it's like if I don't win ever, like what's the point of doing anything? Right. So but there needs to be some balance of a little bit of no in between the. I think for a relationship for two people to work, it doesn't even have to be a romantic relationship. For a relationship to happen, there must be agreement most of the time.
Right. Yes.
But some level of disagreement is very healthy.
Yeah, a little bit, just a little touch of resistance is what you're saying. Just don't be so willing to be a pleaser.
There must be a little bit of tension, just
a little bit of tension.
But
that's
not too much.
Well, it is because that's what makes music, right? Is tension. And that's what, through all my training, and I love relationship stuff, right? It's like music, it's like chords. There's tension in there, and that's what makes it exciting. Yeah. Plus, you're two individual people. When people say to me, "Oh, we never argue. We always get along," it's like, really?
So someone's
not.
To...
Someone's not. Someone could not be speaking their truth, and that's what's really important. Because I thought I was doing the right thing by doing what I was doing, because that's how I was conditioned. And so paying attention to that, and knowing what is that reason for that? Why am I a doormat? Right. Why am I catering to somebody else? Because I want to feel loved. Right. So I'm thinking, that's how I thought I needed to get love. And I remember when I was dating in between marriages, because I married more than I dated. But when I was dating, I remember this guy going, "Could you just sit down with me and quit doing all this stuff? Quit trying to please me." And I'm like, what? That's weird. What? Yeah. And I didn't know how to not do that. Right. It was really... It was just, and I didn't get it for the longest time, that I wasn't being me, and all the while I'm losing myself, and I'm silently resentful.
So this is like another boundary, right?
It is another boundary.
And it's like instead of resisting someone else coming in, it's almost like we're holding ourselves back, so our boundaries almost for ourselves, this wall to kind of say, don't give it all away.
Yes.
Hold some back for yourself.
Well, and it's a fear of intimacy. When we are doormats or codependency, it's also a fear of intimacy. Whenever we're blocking ourselves off, protecting ourselves, we're afraid to be intimate. And when I say intimacy, I don't mean sex. I'm just talking intimacy, where you're allowing yourself to be seen and you seeing someone else, because that's our greatest need and desire, right, is to be seen and heard and understood. And so I found that I was doing that. It's like I kept picking these unavailable men, going, God, what is our problem? And then finally realizing, oh wait, I'm emotionally unavailable. I'm the one that was protecting my heart. I'm the one that was holding myself back. And I learned, it was so funny, intimacy, you can change it to read into me see.
Oh.
So intimacy, into me see. I have to allow you to see me. And that's a scary thing, because that's vulnerable for people. And they also have a fear that if you see me, you're not going to love me, you're going to reject me. Because there's that insight, all that stuff on the inside.
Or if I tell you no, you won't like me.
Exactly.
So I'll just try to please constantly.
It's a fear of love, of not being loved. And we learn that as a child, right? We learn that as a child, that fear of rejection. And it runs deep. So, it's like really recognizing, what am I trying to get? Why? Because we can do that. We can figure it out by relationship. We can look at our relationships and we can go, what are the common things that happen? How did each relationship help me feel? How did they feel? How did I feel in each one? And then you can see your common belief and pattern in that when you look at every relationship, romantic, friendship, and family. And then you see, same feelings, and you see how far back it goes. And then you can pinpoint, that's how you can start the work.
So I mean, as far as I can see, so then that characteristic of saying yes to everything, it seems to come always from a point of fear.
Yes, that's good.
And we can even extrapolate that, for instance, for professional environments. I have a fear of being fired, or a fear of not being seen as a team player,
Right.
And then I will start saying yes to everything, saying yes to meetings at inconvenient hours, saying yes to taking more responsibilities than what I have been hired for, and things like that. So it seems to me that the pattern here is that fear is what creates this behavior.
Well,
That's
it
really
is,
good.
but what are they afraid of? That's the other thing, right? You get down to that, it's what are they afraid of? Because when you look at, when they're doing studies on overachievers, that's just how I am. Well, actually, no, you're running from something. And so you're running from somebody not appreciating you, acknowledging you. You're trying to prove yourself. And that's what I was finding in the codependency. Not being able to say no is, I'm trying to prove that I'm worthy of being loved. I'm worthy of being acknowledged.
Right.
So the more I can do for you, the more yes. Even though I'm dying inside, I'm drained and I'm dying inside. I did that at work, and I ended up with a brain tumor, a back fusion, and neck fusion, and adrenal fatigue, because I never said no. Then it was let's have a wake up, shall we? You know, kind of thing. So, but it's work relationships. It's like we were talking about, intimate. Right. And so it's learning, how do we say no, and learn that the boundary of that internal, when I'm feeling not a good thing, I need to learn to say that no. Yes. And then I also need to learn to say yes to the things that I love to do, which might seem lazy, right? Not working, taking a weekend off, right? And asking for that, standing up for yourself, going, no, I'm just tired and I really want to have some fun. Learning to say yes to yourself.
Learning to say yes. I love that. Learning to say yes and learning to say no.
Yes.
And knowing who you are and what you want, and being okay with the outcome. Yeah. I think that is so powerful. And I often will tell people, because I will ask. I'm not afraid to ask. And I always can tell when they get that look on their face, and I say, it's okay to say no. So just know that it's okay to say no. And sometimes you do need to tell your boss no, and sometimes you need to tell your partner no, but then you need to ask for what you want and know you deserve that.
Well, and there's a way to say no. It's not like no.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that, right? It's kind of like that pendulum swing, you know, when you haven't been, I kind of went way over here and oh my gosh, were my boundaries hard and strong. No. I had to find that soft no, this place right here.
You don't even have to say an no. You just have to say, well, I'd rather not.
Yes. Oh, and the other thing is learning to go, let me get back to you. On asking to do stuff, and then take some time and breathe and really do it. So especially if you're a people pleaser, right? Instead of that immediate, just go, you know what, I don't have my calendar with me or something, but you can say that, just I need a little bit of time. Can I get back to you by Wednesday? And I just started practicing with that. Can I get back to you when people were asking me to do things? You know, and so that really was helpful. It was a baby step. But it helped me kind of get more confident within myself.
Because then you can, if you really don't want to do something, you have some time to think about it. You don't have to give a response on the spot. And you can also say, I'm so sorry, I unfortunately cannot help because my schedule doesn't permit.
Well, because a lot of us will try to squeeze it in, right? We're trying to, oh, well, I have this and this, but I can do it. No, don't do it.
Right.
Well, especially where we're at now. In life, coming out of what we're coming out of, and being really true to ourselves is really important. Taking the time, doing more self-care, and learning to say yes and no. And I have a girlfriend that she said, I don't do anything unless it's a full body yes. And I'm like, oh, what's that? Right? Full body yes. And she said, that's that excited feeling that you get like you're going to go to Disneyland. You know, you can just, you learn, you practice feeling it in your body. What's a no and what's a yes? The no, like the forgiveness, like the tying the knot, untying the knot. Like you can feel a knot. It's like, because we all get it. We just have to tune into it.
Yes.
We all, our bodies tell us yes or no.
I want to do this. I say, no, I don't want to do this. But in life, it's complicated because sometimes you don't want to do something, but like rationally you think, okay, like it will be strategically important for me if I do this for this person, or if I attend this event that I'm not excited about, especially like if you have a significant other that's like, well, like we have so and so is having this event, and you're like, I don't really like those people, but like I want to make my partner happy, and so it's like sometimes it's not always possible to say no when you want to say no.
Right. So that's a give and take.
Yeah.
Right?
A compromise.
It's a compromise. And in relationship, we get to do that, or even at work. But it's if we do it with intention. So learning to do it with the right intention, as we know, makes a whole difference. So if I'm intending, I'm going to do this because I know my partner is going to be happy and I want my partner to be happy, right? Or if I do attend this event, then it is going to help me in my career. So I am going to do this. It's kind of like networking. It's like, oh, I have to go to it now. Okay, why am I going to this networking event? Because, right? And as an entrepreneur, you know, you're putting yourself out there a lot. And so it's like, I'm tired. Well, it's honoring the tired, or it's going, no, because I know so-and-so is going to be there and I really want to meet them and I know that's going to make a difference. But it's being intentional with it and not just doing it because, just doing it.
Right. Yeah.
That's what drains us.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not having a clear reason to do whatever we do.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, you guys, I think the thing that we've learned is set your boundaries when it comes to not being a doormat. Learn to say no in a polite way. Learn to say yes to the great opportunities and be selfish and take a little time for yourself. And people will respect you.
Yeah.
They will respect you and you will not be stressed out. So I think it's a win-win for both people in a relationship, to both the person setting the boundaries and the person on the receiving end of this as well. They'll appreciate you and respect you. So I hope you learned something new today. Be sure to check out all of our fun events at defrostseattle.com, and be sure to like our posts, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much for being on the show, Brenda.
You're so welcome.
And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye, friends.